Oh, good morning, Shake. How are you doing
Good
there?
morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I've been
Well,
better. I'll be honest. I've been better. Uh, Had quite the watch party here in Miami with the villains, and
yes, I'm
still,
so jealous.
yeah. Wish you could have
I'm
been
so
there.
jealous.
Honestly, you
Me
would have
too.
had a fun time.
Another one.
Yeah.
Another one. Well, welcome to the Love Pod officially. You have a lot going on. So, obviously, we know you from Love is Blind, where you got that villain reputation. You are currently on House of Villains, and then you have a new project going on that actually is going to help a lot of people. You are the mortgage doc. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, most people do know me as a veterinarian, and I am still a veterinarian. I'm still practicing full time, but kind of made the decision that I didn't want to own my own practice right now. Just it's not the sort of commitment that I'm ready for. Being in one physical location and kind of that becomes your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I got into real estate as an investor probably about 10 years now, 10 years ago now,
Oh, wow.
and it's been one of the smartest things I ever did. So now I'm actually in real estate formally on the mortgage side, and unlike being a vet where you have to bring your animal to me, it's very personal and up close.
Mm-hmm.
The nice thing about the mortgages is I can help people all across the country achieve their dream of home ownership, educate them on really when it comes down to a personal wealth, building personal wealth in the form of buying a
Yeah.
home. So that's something I'm working on and really enjoying.
Do you get clients that recognize you from the shows?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
How do they react?
It's interesting. When people recognize me in person, it's almost always positive, like
Good.
99% of the time. Um, and well, when Love is Blind came out, there was a lot of hate online. There was a lot of hate.
Oh,
And for the
sure,
most part,
sure.
that's kind of lightened up too. So I'm happy about that. And I think people are kind of seeing, hopefully, another side of me.
Yeah, well, on House of Villains, Jordan and I have talked about it before, but you really like we're rooting for you because we see this different side of you, and I get it. You're a bold person. You say what you think, and you want what you want, and we'll talk a little bit about that later from Love Is Blind. But you're in this house with these people who are like their job is to compete on reality TV and have this villain reputations, and you're just coming in as kind of like the freshman to these type of shows
Yeah.
and trying to be nice and get along with everybody up until the last episode or so.
Yeah.
So we're rooting for you. We're
Thank you.
really excited. Yeah, and I was like, I hope he doesn't, spoiler alert if anybody hasn't seen the episode, I hope he doesn't go home tonight because we really want to see you make it further, and then you did not. And so we get you for at least another week, which is awesome.
At least one more week. I'm just, living one week at a time. And that's exactly how it felt for me. Being in there, it's not as though, it's not like I had a target on my back right away because of like something I did or something I represented. When I started, I felt like I was one of the expendable ones. I mean, up
Yeah.
against these legends, like legitimate legends. They always say 10 of reality's biggest legends. I'm like, I don't know how I got included in that. I mean, I'm honored to be included, but like,
Right.
I'm not delusional here. I get it, guys. I'm not like in the same category as like an Omarosa or as a New York or a Bananas, Fair Play, whatever. All of them, Tanisha. So it wasn't like, oh, we hate this guy, he's got to go. It's more
Right.
like who would like who's the person that he's a newcomer.
Yeah,
And
can kind of
yeah.
go. Yeah.
But
And I think you can see that if the dynamic of like the newer shows versus, the Omarosa and Johnny Fairplace who have been on TV for decades.
yeah, I think you do see that. But you know what happens? I mean, this is all stuff that I'm realizing now, watching it back. When you're in the moment, it doesn't like feel this way. But now I'm just kind of putting myself back into those shoes. I'm like, seeing my villainy come out and develop. I'm like, how did that happen? What led to that? And it really is this feeling of you're on the bottom of the totem pole, right? And it's not like
Okay.
no one's being like, except for Jax, who was an outright dick. No one's like being an outright dick to me, but it
Mm-hmm.
wears on you to kind of be at the bottom, right?
Oh, sure.
And
Yeah.
so then you start lashing out a little bit. You start lashing out.
Understandable.
So that's what's coming out. It's like after a certain point, after I survive like one elimination, two eliminations, I'm like, you know what? I don't even care anymore. In my mind, I accomplished what I needed to for me to feel good about this. I wasn't the first
Right.
person out. I wasn't the second person out. But you know what I won't stand for is sitting here and like feeling like a second class citizen. I'm not gonna. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna. It's just not me. You know what I mean? It's just not my personality. For better
Yeah.
or for worse, I've never tolerated that. And okay, so you've been on a couple shows. I don't care. I don't care. Whatever. Right now, like we're equals. So that's one aspect. The other aspect, I think, because so much is getting cut out, you don't really see as much as like the social dynamics within the house, who's helping who, and that type of thing.
Right.
And I know some people are like, oh, you're so misogynistic and you're like going after the girls or whatever like that. Well, I mean, the truth is the guys, mostly fair play and bananas. And this is like me in the house, not seeing what they're doing in other conversations. This is just what I'm
Yeah.
experiencing.
Yeah.
Is they're helping me, you know? They're helping me because we're kind of broing out.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that cut out was us just like drinking at the pool because, when there's downtime. And so the guys are helping me. I'm not going to try and eliminate them.
Right.
Omarosa, frankly, I'm, still at this point terrified of,
I don't blame you.
and then there's Bobby, who's just like a wild card, like just too wild. You know what I mean? So for me, Jax was very easy for me to kind of put on the spot and try and eliminate because I've dealt with a lot of people like Jax. He's a big muscular dude. He thinks he's the shit. In Jax's case, not the brightest. I've dealt with people like that. I know how to handle people like that. But then like with the Corinnes and Anfisas and stuff like that, I'm like, I'm not sure how to manage this. I'm not sure exactly how to go about this. Like,
And you can see that on the show. You can see that come across where you're trying and maybe fumbling and trying to cover, backtrack.
Well, yeah. So like with Anfisa, let's talk about her first. So she has the catch-up scene, in her bikini, and like she's just
Were
like,
you jealous?
she's just. I'll explain exactly how it is. So she's just like using her sexuality to her advantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw that, I was like, I don't know how to I don't know how to play this. I don't know how to play this because I mean, whatever she's doing is working. I mean, we all know it's working. It's like because in this competitive environment, I do not know how to deal with something like this. I think I got her. I need her to go. At least New York. Like they didn't show much of this, but New York and we kind of developed a friendship. Her room was right by mine, so like we'd chat. We'd like smoke weed and stuff like that sometimes.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
So like we had something there. And even though she came at me in the very beginning, she didn't come at me again. She didn't like those like rattling off of insults and stuff like that. But she does. She didn't come at me again. So I'm like, who would I rather have? Someone who's like this KGB agent, beautiful, smart, like and cunning, because she's going to use that that sexuality as a weapon. I'm like, I cannot. No,
you don't know.
It's an easy choice for me whether I want New York or Anfisa. So it's not like a misogynistic like you're. No, come on, no. Literally, she has these weapons that I, as a man, they'll work. They'll work. You get what I'm saying? And then the Corinne thing, that was a result of the Anfisa thing. So if we kind of rewind back, I voted Anfisa out, right? She's demanding to know who it is. I'm like, it wasn't me. She's like, do you think it was Corinne? And I'm like, As a matter of fact, yes, that is exactly what I think. I think it was Corinne. It was Corinne. It was Corinne. You know,
how dare she?
So then all of a sudden, like, as a byproduct of stage one of this, now stage two, Corinne's involved. And once there's bad blood like that, you know, I tried the apologizing. That's not gonna work. The only way.
Well, your apology kind of turned into the opposite.
Exactly. Because, you know, I did feel that way. And
sure.
And after a certain point, I'm like, there's really no climbing out of this. I think at this point, you know, I'm kind of back at like, fuck it. I made it as far as I needed to for me.
Yeah.
If I'm going, I'm not going to go out as like a meek little, you know, whatever. It's like, who cares at this point, right? If I'm going to get voted out anyway, why would I kind of like meekly, you know, just kind of like, okay, like I'm just going to take it. No, she was being thirsty. She was. I mean, I like Corinne. Corinne and I are friends.
But do you think that part of that is her role on the show, or is she really like that?
I mean,
because I feel like everybody plays a bit of a character.
It's hard to say. All I can say is it was irritating to be around constantly because they cut so much stuff out.
Yeah.
And like sometimes for whatever reason, like it would just be me, her, and Bananas. For whatever reason, like the rest of the house is doing this or doing that. And I don't have the option, like in the real world. It's like, if I don't want to be chilling here, I could just go do something else. But in these situations, they're like, all right, you guys need to be outside. Like there's something going on in the house or whatever it is. And I'm like stuck with them. I'm like, what the fuck, guys? Like, come on. It's not Bananas. It's Corinne. It's not Bananas at all. It's Corinne. Do it. You know, it's like this. It's like if you have a roommate and his girlfriend.
Which Bananas is your roommate in the show.
Exactly.
Yep.
And he has his girlfriend come over, right? And you're in the living room with them. You know, there's two ways this could go. And I've been in both situations. Or I've been the guy with the girlfriend coming over.
Sure.
You include the third person there in conversation, you know, even though, yes, you two are a couple, the three of us are now spending time together for whatever reason, right?
Right.
And you're all part of the same conversation. Or there's the more awkward and frankly rude and annoying situation where one of you pretends like the other guy's not even there, and I'm just like, come on, guys. If this was real life,
oh no.
If this was real life, and we were in an apartment, I would have just gone to my room, or I would have been like, all right, guys, I'm gonna go grab a beer with some friends. Bye. I didn't have those options. I was stuck with those two, and one of them was making it uncomfortable, yes, annoying, yes. And by the time I was like, if I'm getting kicked off the show anyway, I'm just gonna fucking say it. Like, do that. Come on, give me a break here. I'm stuck out here with you guys. You don't realize this, you know?
Do the producers kind of herd you guys into those scenarios? Like, you can't go to your room. You have to hang out at the hot tub with them or whatever it might be.
I mean, it's not, it's yes and no. Yes and no. It's not as cut and dry. But it's like during the day, I mean, let's face it, we're trying to make a TV show here.
Right.
They don't want you in your room, like, reading a book. They really don't.
Yeah.
And you know what? I ended up doing that a lot. Because I was just, after a certain point, I'm not a professional reality TV person. Like, Bananas is a content machine. Like, there's never a dull moment. Like, he's on his guitar. He's, like, cooking up a meal. He's, like, doing something for the camera nonstop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's not me. I need my time to chill. I need to kind of, like, pretend I'm not in this house for a little bit. So anyway, once the bad blood started with Corinne and I knew there was no going back, I'm like, now I have to be enemies with her. It's not because I wanted to be. I think outside of the show, I think Corinne's a lovely person. I really do. You know? Mm-hmm. But in that situation, in the competition situation, it's like, I'd rather you go home than me, you know?
Of course. You always have to have. not everybody can be friends. And it seemed like when we talked to Fair Play, you had posted your screenshots or whatever. And what I got out of that, aside from, the context with who doesn't get along, is you guys really seem like a family. Like Corinne was trying to be the mediator. There's a couple of people in the family who don't get along, but everybody still stays in touch and hangs out. And we saw on your socials, all of yours from the Miami party, like you're all there hanging out, doing the rewatch. Even Izzy from Love is Blind was there. I mean, there were a couple of other shows like coming together. So it's really like a network of extended family, whether you all get along or not.
And we do. And I'm pretty proud of how this watch party came together. I mean, because first of all, I mean, it's Miami and I'm Miami, right?
Yes.
So it was kind of on me. Fair play also.
Okay.
Fair play also, but him not being in Miami, it was kind of on me to like pull this one together. So I mean, I'm just, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm honored that I could host this and put this together, and I'm flattered that people flew in for it. Omarosa, Izzy. Then some, other Netflix people, Damien from Love is Blind, Carousel from Perfect Match.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And some, girls from Below Deck. So at the end of the day, I mean, we had a great time filming the show, but we're, for the most part, pretty cool.
Yeah, you can tell when you all come together. You don't have to do these watch parties. You can just go on about your lives. When you all come together and have fun, like it looks like you guys were having a blast at the party the other night, you can see that you all genuinely get along. And there is a production element to filming any of these shows. I've heard both ways. I've heard we interviewed Devin Wilder, who was in the last stages of The Pickup Artist, that old school VH1 show, and for him everything seemed very produced.
Okay.
And you get elements of that from House of Villains, but shows like The Challenge and Love is Blind, I feel like are more, sure, there's production pushes, but you can't throw challenges. There was no setting up your challenge last night, your redemption challenge, coincidentally that it was animal related.
That's a great point. I mean, when I saw that challenge, I was like, oh my God.
Yes.
Of all the things. But I did, even before the challenge started, I told Tanisha and Corinne, I was like, listen, I mean,
I'll go win.
well, no, quite the opposite. Like, hey, I know I have an advantage here. I know that I have an advantage, and, so for that reason, I'm not going to gloat. I'm not going to rub it in. I'm going to win.
Yeah, and you did it.
And I'm going to win this. I mean, I knew I was going to win it, but, I mean, I don't want to it's different when you, it's an even playing field and you win. But, I was like, guys, just so you know, I know that I have an advantage. This isn't one where I'm going to be like, booyah, bitches. You know what I mean? Even though...
You're toast.
You're toast. Thank you. Even though in another scenario, I would have wanted to, because everybody's already against me, and it would have felt so good. But I chose not to, because I'm like, it just wouldn't feel right. And I just did that out of respect for them, I didn't want to do that.
And yes, I think you definitely see a change from when you almost won the challenge the week prior and just didn't open that box.
Yeah.
To this redemption challenge where there's definitely a humbling, whether it was because you knew you had the advantage, like you said, or
I was going to make the same mistake twice.
The ball.
I was going to make the same mistake. Well, here's a little BTS for you. I'm sure you're going to like this.
Okay, we love that. Yes.
So I did win that challenge with the box.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, explain that, because...
So the original rules were, whoever gets their last lock off the box wins. That was the rule.
Now, did you watch the episode? Do you watch them when they come out? Okay, so they do a playback, and they do these funny recaps of productions sometimes, and they roll back Joel saying whoever, I don't know specifically, but basically whoever opens the box.
I know, they put that in post. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I did win that challenge.
Okay.
But the reason they did that, it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the challenge because there's a different reason I didn't actually win, but it's not because of the box. The box makes me look dumb because I didn't open the box, and
It did. It
it's
did.
funny, but I did win the challenge because I
Okay.
listened to the rules, and I'm not that. I mean,
You're
I have
pretty
my moments.
perceptive.
I have my moments, but I'm not that dumb. Okay, but the reason I lost is because I was disqualified. And
Why were you
yeah, so the
disqualified?
reason I was disqualified, there was a rule that said if somebody is putting their lock on your box, you cannot physically prevent them. You can't physically prevent them. And
Oh, okay. And you were kind of
there was a moment where Corinne was trying to put a lock on my box, and I moved my body to position myself because I was trying to get a
I
lock
saw that.
off.
Yeah.
I moved my body to prevent her from getting to my box. And as per the rules, if somebody's coming for you, you're supposed to just let them put it on. So I
Yeah.
got disqualified for that reason.
Okay.
But
They really don't
no,
explain.
because it didn't change the outcome.
Yeah.
So
But we've noticed, like, there's things through the show, like the terms for the different rooms, the strongholds, and not redemption challenge. That one we've heard, but there's certain things that like we kind of catch on 5 or 6 episodes in. I just found out last week when we talked to Johnny Fairplay. I didn't know Anna Delvey was the voice of the house. I knew I recognized her voice,
it's
but
not
I
Anna
didn't know
Delvey.
who it was. He said it was Anna Delvey.
No, it was somebody. It was so okay. So it was one of the producers pretending to be Anna Delvey, and we all thought it was
Oh.
her because we didn't know
Okay.
anything. But then, like, by the time the season's over, we're like, okay, no, no. I mean, definitely
Aw.
not. And then the voice that you guys hear is a re-recorded voice. It wasn't the voice that we actually heard.
Okay.
They dubbed that over, just to the same effect. To
Aw.
the same effect. But I mean,
Fairplay sabotaged me.
yeah, classic fair play. But I still remember. So with this, cold and calculated challenge, um, there was an argument about who won because Omarosa opened the box, yet as per the original rules, won by removing the lock, and we're all standing there, and we were all fighting. We were all fighting,
Right.
and then we're standing there, and then Joel goes, "So we're about to announce the challenge. Shake," and I'm like, I won. Has been disqualified, and I'm like, oh my god. And the winner is
No.
Omarosa, and that's how it happened. That's how it happened. But they didn't show that stuff. They just went straight to the. Made it
Yeah,
just too
she
complicated.
really
They just made it too complicated.
she's won quite a few times, and it's funny because she always does the least and somehow ends up winning. Like she didn't get those balls out
Yeah.
in the balls out challenge, and then this one, Corinne and was it Corinne and Tanisha teaming up with her? So she really just wins on like her being Omarosa, which is great for her.
Omarosa and I are kind of like on the opposite extremes of the spectrum. So, she has this kind of social capital
Yeah.
that I severely lack. You know, she, physically doesn't need to do as much, whereas I need to do the most. So
Yeah, you tried.
yeah, I didn't try.
If
I
you
won, but still, yeah.
if you hadn't been disqualified, how do you think it would have played out? Like, who would you have nominated for banishment? How do you think it would have changed at least the episode? I know you can't guess the whole show, but the episode.
Yeah, well, the three people I said you're toast to were Bobby, because again, Bobby's a freaking. I mean, I love Bobby as a person. So much fun, but on the show, he's just a wild card. It's just like you can't trust him.
No.
I said something to him. He told everybody else. Like he's just bonkers nonstop. So Bobby, that was like an easy one. And then again, these two, not because I wanted them out, hated them, it's just because I'd already created this rift between us, and I had to
Sure.
finish the job. Corinne and Anfisa, you know.
Sure. I we used as a promo teaser for this week's episode, recapping how you were in the pantry with Bobby and you told him,
Big mistake.
yep, we're like, Shake, I haven't even seen his show, his original show, and even I know not to tell him anything. So what are you blabbering about
I will
Bobby
say,
likes about?
though, I will say it's like you guys see what you see, but there's a lot of I mean, keep in mind we're morning till night we're in that house. What you guys see is like 3% of what was like filmed.
I know,
So,
I know.
but yeah, looking back, it's very easy to be like, why the hell would you trust him? But in the beginning, same reason I told Bobby in the beginning about the whole Jax thing. I felt, again, Bobby and I were smoking weed all the time too. That's the other thing. I felt like if we're like smoking J's, like, this is another, again, complex social dynamics. Not ever gonna make it on a TV show, but it's like the people you're drinking beers with, you feel like you can trust, and that was true.
Right.
And then the people, like, not just, I mean, I brought a bunch of joints to the house, and I'm sharing them with people like Bobby, and he's sharing his stuff with me. So you feel some kind of
camaraderie.
You do. You just do, right? So it's very easy to watch the show and be like, even I could have seen that, ha ha ha. But there's a lot more than that goes on.
That's exactly what I sounded like too. You nailed it.
Yeah.
Now this has all been like the prior episode. This has been the Shakedown episode. So let's talk about this last episode, but I see you're vaping.
Oh yeah.
Now is this going to our buddy? Nice.
No,
nice.
No. That arrangement sadly has
Oh no. So your vape is available.
Yeah, if anybody wants to highest bidder.
Will you sign it for someone?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Hold on 1 second.
Oh, you're going to do it right now? Nice.
All right.
Okay. Now, I have to ask, because we are both animal people, will you donate part of the proceeds to an animal rescue if somebody bids on this vape? Nice.
Let's see what
we
can get for this bad boy.
Yes. Will you commit to like even 10% to your choice of animal charity?
All
of it?
Yeah.
Oh, you heard it here, guys. Bid on Shake's vape. I don't know how. We'll figure something out.
We'll figure that out, and then you guys can pick the charity too. How about that?
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Okay, yeah, I love it. I'm sad to hear that arrangement ended.
No, he actually had to file bankruptcy.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's actually buying vapes from me was actually a very bad financial decision for him. In fact, I had to talk him out of it. I'm like, listen, man, this has been great. This has been really good, but I just don't feel comfortable accepting money from you anymore. He started offering me Southwest gift cards and other gift cards. I'm like, bro, just come on, just get your shit together, dude. Like, come on.
Do you know if you're the only one he bought vapes from, or is that like a collection hobby for him?
I never asked.
I want to interview him if he's available after his bankruptcy filing.
Very private guy.
That's fine. I totally understand. Everybody has their own weird, but that was a fun aside that I enjoyed from the episode.
Yeah.
So let's recap, because we are very honored to have you here, and our co-host Jordan, who really is the backbone of the show, who does the tech and the social media and all the things that I don't understand how to do, cannot be here. So you're like our guest host today, in addition to our interview. So we're very honored to have you. So let's talk about the gospel truth. Mm-hmm. And we'll kind of hop around. I tried to do my little outline in order of what happened. So you guys usually have these little house hangouts in the beginning of each episode where we see a very small amount, like you said, of you guys talking. We heard a little bit about Johnny Fairplay saying no one's rooting for you. So were there any behind the scenes conversations that we missed that you would have liked them to air when you guys are hanging out in the house around this time frame?
Around this time, I mean, this part is pretty true. I would say. Like, no one was rooting for me, at least publicly. You know.
We were rooting for you
Thank you.
over here at
And
the Love
and,
Pod.
and, and I don't blame anybody for that, because in my position, like, nobody would want to be in my position. And if somebody else were in my position, I don't know that I'd be publicly being like, you know what, I actually like this guy. You know, I just I just don't blame anybody for that. I don't think there's anything really noteworthy that was missed.
Okay. And then, do you think the turning point for you, you were
Well,
disqualified from the icebreaker?
I take that back. I take that back.
Okay.
You know, this isn't really necessarily maybe something that the public would have seen, but like, having Bananas as a roommate, you know, the guy was, say what you will about Bananas, but the guy, he really was there for me in a lot of ways. And especially,
That's awesome.
yeah, especially like that moment where that was my low. That was my low for the
Yeah.
show. Actually, you know what? I don't know if I want to share this, because you know what? This motherfucker. So they cut this out.
I will say before you share,
Yeah.
I can edit the podcast. I am not sure how to edit video, so I can try my best.
Care.
So just
you can
okay.
put anything,
Okay.
Nothing was. Everything was fair game.
Okay. Okay.
So, on the one hand, he's like, "Listen, man, I know you're feeling down, and like the whole house hates you, but just keep in mind that tomorrow's a new day, and something else will happen. The cards will be shuffled, and things will move on. And just what you got to do is you just got to seem unbothered. You know,
Yeah.
you just got to act, even though you're inside, you gotta just act unbothered, because if you act weak, that's just gonna hurt you, type of thing."
Right.
And that meant a lot to me. I needed to hear that. Without that, I think I would have just been in much worse shape, you know? Because like the next day when we're all sitting downstairs and picking our people to go on our little vacation with or whatever else, because of that little pep talk, I'm sitting there like, "Oh, congrats, Omarosa. Oh, okay, good. And I'm like looking at myself. I'm like, wow, I look fine, you know. But inside,
Yeah.
nobody, game show or not, nobody likes to feel that way, right? So,
Of course.
but this is, you know how in another episode he wrote that note to himself.
Of course I know about note gate. Come on.
He wrote a note to me. Put it on my bed. I didn't know it was him until I found out he's writing the notes, like now, live,
Okay.
like with you guys.
Okay.
Yeah. But the note to me said, what did it say? It said, "Wow, you really are an asshole. I thought you were just playing it up for TV, or I thought I was just editing on the other show." So like, really trying to get me at one of my insecurities. And then on the other hand, he's like, "Listen, bro, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be good. You're gonna be good." So you know, nonetheless, I did need to hear that, even if on the other end he was writing the note. Whatever.
He is, I mean, I don't know if you've seen seasons of The Challenge, and I've watched from like very early on to now. That is such, you really get to learn people's characters when you've watched them for like 20 or 30 seasons, at least their characters on the show. I don't know what everybody's like in real life. And having seen him do a similar note before, he had someone else write it and brought it with him into the house on the challenge. Seemed like he did the same thing that with the note that was targeted at him.
If I had seen that, I would have known. Yeah.
Was it in his hand? Was it like a masculine handwriting, or was it?
I thought it was. It looked like girly handwriting to me.
Mm-hmm. So he might have brought that into the house.
How would he know that it was me, or that's just maybe generic enough?
Save it,
generic,
save it for because he can't know what's going to happen, but he can know the right moment.
You know what's?
I wish I could ask him.
You know what's hilarious? So I saw that note on my bed, and I was already feeling so shitty that I didn't even open the note. I just tore it up and threw it away. And then, and I don't know how this happened, because this is important. I wish I remembered this. But somehow Bananas finds his way in, and he says something about I don't know how it came up, but I'm like, oh yeah, there was a note, and I ripped it up. And he's like, didn't you want to read what's on it? And then he goes and like pieces it together, and then he reads it out loud. I'm like, motherfucker.
He put it back together. Oh my god.
Something. I didn't even read it. I'm like, listen, I don't need any more negativity. I'm not even going to read this. I'm not even going to read this. How is reading this going to help me?
And I'll be the first to confess, Shake, I did not like you on your season of Love is Blind. I just, it's funny because I could understand, like, you want to find somebody attractive, to be a realistic marriage, to be a realistic relationship. Even if the public doesn't find them attractive, you have to find them attractive.
Exactly.
I didn't like the way you went about it.
Yeah, what specifically?
Like the way you were asking, like, can I put you on my shoulders, or what size are you? I felt like that wasn't in the nature, and this is me being fooled that it's like an actual experiment, right? Like in the nature of the experiment.
Some of the girls, even on my season, straight up were asking, "How tall are you?" Things like that.
We don't. But they
chose to make me the one.
Yes,
the villain. I just want you to have an idea that
I understand.
That it went far beyond what I said, although I said it very creatively, at least, at least I thinly veiled it. Okay, other people.
It was a very thin veil. It was a very thin veil. Oh, hi, Mo. The cats. Come say hi. Ooh, I almost knocked him over. I'm not going to do that. Never mind. But you really grew on me, like, even seeing the reunion and the jokes about Vanessa, and you're very blunt, you're very direct, and you say what you think. And maybe not always in the best way, but then coming into the House of Villains and really being kind of not knowing what to expect and not being familiar with, like, yeah, you can be buddies with somebody and smoke weed with them all day, but they're still going to try and get that bag. And so they're going to run their mouth to whoever they need to, or go against it, tell you one thing and support you verbally, and then hide notes for you.
It is a competition at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you started to pick up on strategies as you went through the time in the house? Like tips from what other people were doing, or after you realized telling Bobby Lights maybe wasn't the best idea? Hi, buddy.
This entire show, for as long as I last, is me with no idea what the hell I'm doing and just trying to survive, And I think, to answer your question,
I know he wants to come up. This is Spumoni.
Spumoni.
He is a rescue cat. I'm Italian. I know all about Spumoni.
Adorable.
But say hi, bud. Say hi. Anyway, he was going to bother me until I picked him up. So anyway.
No. But along the way, I mean, you do pick up a few tricks, right? I mean, you do. And like, I people are telling me, wow, you're learning how to be a villain. Watching it back, I'm seeing that. And thinking back to, however long I'm left, like, yeah, it definitely had an effect on me. Even though in the moment it didn't feel like it, like watching it back, it's like clearly I'm learning something, So.
Would you go on a show like this again, or any other reality show?
This was stressful. I'm not gonna lie. This was, it was fun, but like, I know to bananas, this was like.
Yeah, this is just another day.
The challenge is like 10 times more intense, right? So
yeah.
To him, this is like, man, we get all our meals right here. We're hanging out. We're going to the pool. So for him, it was very easy. And like Fair Plan Survivor, are you kidding? Like, come on.
Oh God, yeah.
Like forget the challenge, Survivor. Like, holy shit. Like you're like losing 30% of your body weight and all this stuff. So
I would not make it one day on that show. They would be like, you know what? you win, leave. You're so annoying.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know. I think it'd have to be the right type of show.
Okay. No perfect match for you?
I said no to Perfect Match.
You did?
Yeah, because
that would have been fun.
Because they asked for our season. They asked us before our season came out.
Oh, okay.
Because just of the timing of when it would be filmed, and I was honestly thinking about doing it, but then the reunion was filmed, and the night before the reunion was filmed, they showed us the wedding episodes, and the public hadn't
Okay.
seen them yet. And once I
Yeah.
saw that, I saw red because of the whole show.
Oh,
The way
yeah.
they manipulated the wedding, it drove me insane. I'm like, this is what you fucking made me look like? This is what you, like, really? So then that's why at the reunion, I'm like, fuck this show. Fuck you guys. You guys are all a bunch of fakes. You guys are all a bunch of fakes. And they are. They're
Yeah.
all divorced. None of those marriages worked.
I
You know?
know.
Um, they were all individuals who in the beginning were genuine people that I could talk to, and but then they became these people who must protect their image at all costs. And I'm
I
like, dude, that's bullshit.
I think it's hard because, I mean, having never been on a reality show, I can only speak from what I see. But you are comfortable in your skin to be okay with getting that villain edit.
I'm
A
not okay
lot.
with it. Who said I was okay with it? I was
Well, like
pissed
you're
off.
handling it well. Okay.
I'm glad it
You're
looks that
handling
way.
it
I'm glad it
well.
looks that way. But I'll tell you this: I don't wish that upon anybody. Okay?
No, and I
I
think
didn't know I could take it until I had to take it. I didn't want to
that's
take it. I
true.
wouldn't want to take it again. I had
Sure.
to. I learned something about myself that I
Okay.
can handle that, but it's not something I want to do, or I wouldn't recommend it. And I think a lot of other people would crumble under that. They really would.
And that's kind of, I guess what I was getting at is like a lot of people know they can't handle that pressure and the press and the social media that comes with it when you get, whether that's your actual reputation or not. People, I mean, I've been a part of Bachelor Nation. I've been with Love is Blind since day one. And we run a huge Love is Blind Facebook group. There's 60 something thousand people in there.
Shit.
And people are brutal. Like, I always wonder if any of the cast, like if you guys come in with like a fake profile, and I'm like, I hope not, because there's some really, we try to police it, but there's some nasty comments in there.
Is
And
this going to get posted into that?
yes, we do promote in there. So hopefully everybody, and I always say, please be kind. It's fair game to say something within the context of like us talking as friends. It's not fair game to go on your profile, to go seek you out and to say really nasty things. It's not, we don't promote hate, we don't promote racism. Like there's a lot of things that as wild as the group is and as Wild West as we let people get, there's another level of hate sometimes that we have to be like, guys, these are real people and these are edited shows. So I think this will show, at least for me, and I'm just being completely honest, like a completely different side of you that people will warm up to who maybe haven't gotten into House of Villains yet, because I think you're very likable on House of Villains.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm trying to promote that show so much because short version is like I got hit in the head by a golf club in 2016, and I'm still recovering from that and from some long COVID stuff. And Love is Blind was the first thing that really got me like feeling excited about something, because it's something I can do. I can sit and watch TV. I can relate to people. Then it was such a new show. We were able to like get you on the show and like interact on social. So I felt like it was part of a community. And so it's really cool, and it's like fangirling out to be able to talk to you guys and then have this big community to talk about it with. And so I feel protective of you guys too, where I'm like, no, you be nice. We are not going to talk mean about Shake on this show. We have to watch him on House of Villains. It is a very different show. You don't see all the sides of personality. And from talking to everybody, I do see that production has, a lot of pull in how you appear, if not how the show plays out.
And honestly, the reason this watch party meant so much to me is with Love is Blind. We filmed the show. It was about a year before it actually came out. The cast, we all hung out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was friends with everybody. Everybody knew how I was in the pods,
right,
outside the pods, in real life, in real scenarios, with cameras, without cameras. Everybody knew who I was. But when the show came out and the media and social media decided I was bad, they fucking dropped me. And not just dropped me. They piled on.
I'm
because
trying to.
and that's what got me the most fucked up. That's what made me that's what made me such a villain at the reunion. I was like, I was there for you guys. I was there for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were at my place. I was at your lake house. I like Shane. Like when you didn't have a place, like you called me 2 a.m. You didn't have a place to go. I let you stay on my couch. Like I was there for every one of you in different ways, and you're gonna let this show and social media make me an enemy.
Yeah.
And you're not only are you gonna not say anything, but you're gonna pile in to that. And that's what hurt me. That you know what? That's what made me a villain. That's what made the real villain out of me.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
was really like, fuck you
That's.
guys. You know?
Yeah, burning when people burn those bridges for their own personal
And
gain,
it
or
was very easy to see. It's like, all right, Shake is bad. So if I don't like Shake, then I am good. So we're anti-Shake.
yeah,
You know, it's very easy. It's very, very easy to see once you kind of know the background of it. And I was nervous about this cast. Because I got so fucked over by my last cast that to
yeah.
have this kind of reunion and look at those. By the way, look at that cast now. Look at that cast now. Like, look at
The
them.
Love Is Blind. Your
My
season, yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
The divorces,
We,
all the bullshit. Like, look at the quality of that cast. I mean, Deep D and Natalie have their podcast. Good for them. That's fine. But just kind of look. You know what I mean? These are. I don't know. Having my cast here for this watch party after what happened with my last cast, I'm like, I can
right,
be done with reality TV now because at least I had the experience that I wish I had on Love Is Blind. Like a loving, supportive cast that, like, yeah, we're a family. We don't all get along all the time, but
right.
there's respect and care for each other. And that's what I
I'm
wanted and I never got from Love Is Blind.
I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna share my screen for a second. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's a picture on your Instagram, and it's from February. It's from not that long ago. Um, is this it? Come on. Let's see what the caption is. Count the red flags. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And let's see. Count the red flags. Here we go. Share. Can you see that picture?
No, but I know the picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll put it up on our Instagram, but it's a picture. I mean, Shane's in there. You've got Damien from Love Is Blind. You've got, I think,
Oh, now I see
Joey
it.
from, there we go.
Bartiz and Joey.
Yeah. So, and Nick from The Circle. I mean, you guys, and this isn't that long ago. So it seems like, oh my God, this cat. It's better than the dog's barking,
you know
but
what?
he's playing in the box.
You know what? This is proof of. I actually became better friends with people outside my own cast within Netflix because my cast fucked me over so much, and you know how when you know you're fucking somebody over, you don't want to deal with that person, right?
Right.
You
Yeah,
know, when
of
you
course.
know like you're screwing somebody over, you don't want to deal with them. That's what my cast did to me. Shane apologized, and I'll forgive him. He's had a lot of stuff going on with his family and stuff. Shane's my boy.
Yeah.
But I found more acceptance from literally any other show on Netflix than I did for my own cast, and that was shitty.
Yeah. Well, it seems like, and we really talk about this a lot amongst the group too, is like season 1 of Love Is Blind, like season 1 of every dating reality show is like the most genuine. They really don't cast this like villain drama. We're going to put the worst potential matches together kind of a thing. It happened with Married for First Sight. It happened with, I'm blanking on other shows, but Married at First Sight, the first season was like the best season. Love Is Blind, the first season was like a very wholesome season. Then as you go, we haven't really had like a rootable season or like couple until season 4. We had Tiffany and Brett and Bliss and Zach. And then season 5 again was like a shit show. It's it's, I don't know if that is because of the cast dynamics or because of the way it is being cast, but you can tell when everybody's not being friends, like not keeping in touch from your seasons, that it almost seemed too heavy on trying to cast the drama and pit you guys against each other versus developing actual love connections, whether that's friendships or relationships. It's just, I mean, the fans don't like it. We want to be there as much as we do like drama. We want everybody to like get along and still at the end of the day not have these big rifts that last until the end of time.
Well, I mean, I think what we want and what creates good ratings are
what we get things. Yeah.
So
I understand.
I mean, I will say, yeah, go ahead.
No, you know what, it's we love you on House of Villains, and so I'm glad that you're getting redemption and that you did find a home within like the reality TV community, even if it wasn't with your season, because you're a nice dude. I'm gonna say, you've heard it here on the Love Pod. Shake is a nice guy. The villain edit is a TV thing, and you've got to remember that production and real life are not always the same.
Right.
I'm like hopping around because we covered a lot of this already, but let's talk about fun moments in the house that we didn't get to see, because we've heard that there were so many really cool, like when you went bowling, they surprised Johnny with the pinball machine. Did they have moments like that for all of you guys, or?
Well, you could definitely tell they put a lot of effort into trying to make this special for us,
Okay.
Like one of the reward things was like wine and puppies, right? Like,
right.
They must have thought of me when they made that one, Like,
yeah.
So it's just it's nice that they kind of hit these different sweet spots for different people. I mean, I didn't get to go on that one, but nonetheless, like there's a lot of attention to detail. You could tell they really did their homework on us. They knew what made us tick and what made us happy. And just talking about the production on this end, they were great. They were really good. They were fun and lighthearted and hardworking at the same time. Compared to Kinetic, who does Love is Blind, like looking back, right, it was all like from day one. It's like, how do we exploit the fuck out of these people? And looking back, it's so easy to see. Like every conversation, every interview, like what they're trying to get out of you, and then seeing on the subsequent seasons. So it was really refreshing having this be such a lighthearted, tongue-in-cheek show where you could be yourself and we could all laugh together about it rather than kind of, be hated for it.
We definitely see on our side they have a lot more fun with there were a couple of scenes like with New York overhearing Bananas playing guitar and talking to Corinne and making a big deal of it. It was like her delusion dimension, or different edits like that where they really are like kind of trolling you guys but in a fun, nice way.
Yeah.
And it's so different. And obviously we've heard a lot of rumors about how the Love is Blind treatment versus like the E treatment. And we're talking to Nick about that in 2 weeks from, I think, season 3? Yes, Thompson.
From my season.
Is he from your season?
And then let's talk about Nick for a second. He was one of the quickest to jump down my throat at the reunion. He was one of the quickest. So, like, I never, marriages are tough enough as it is, and then when you're getting a divorce and it's in the public eye and all that stuff, and I have empathy for that. But, you were so quick. You were so quick to defend the show, the premise, the producers. And the reason why is because up until then, you were getting a lot out of it from them. As soon as that gravy train ended, now they're the enemy. I mean, I'm not saying whatever he's saying is not true. I mean, I never felt starved. I never felt deprived. Okay. I didn't like production for how they manipulated me and how they edited
Right.
it. That's a different thing. But I just think there is some irony there that you took all the invitations to the parties, you went to all,
Mm-hmm.
what is it, the iHeartRadio and the interviews and, you know, getting flown out to here and there. You enjoyed all that came with the celebrity of being on the show. But once your marriage fell apart and things got ugly for you, that's when you chose to switch up. I mean, if you had a problem with production, why'd you defend them when I was calling them out at the show?
Right.
It's because
It
you still had
is.
a tangible benefit at that point. And that, I think that's suspicious.
It is kind of. It reminds me of like an actual marriage where we saw like Izzy and Stacy at the altar, and then Stacy says no, and Izzy is okay with it, and then he walks away and just kind of turns tables and starts talking about the negatives of his relationship with Stacy, or Shane and Natalie still coming at each other. Like, there's love there between all these people, but it's a dynamic relationship. So, like, yeah, when everything's going great, everything's sunshines and puppies and roses. But then when it's not, whether it's a marriage or production, like you said, it's difficult going through a divorce. It's very similar. It's like these relationships that can become toxic either from one end or the other. And I'm just really interested to see his take, especially after this season. They really went hard, like with any of the allegations, let's say, that people were being starved. Now you see food everywhere all over season 5. There's buffets, there's snacks, there's not a shot without a meal in sight.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
I just don't. I don't want to discredit what he's doing as a whole. I mean, I just want to be clear about that. I mean, hey, I think it'd be great for reality TV participants to have more rights and more protection. I think
sure.
that's true. But from a personal standpoint, I'm hurt that he kind of discredited me for how I
Yeah.
felt,
Sure.
and it was easy to see that was solely for his benefit because he's still riding that wave at that point.
Yeah. And
So
we don't get a lot of opportunities to talk to you guys. I would love to talk to everybody. Anybody is welcome on the show, whether the reputation is real and people are actual villains or they are not. We'll talk to you. We're very kind. We try to be very nice and gentle in our interviews. But I didn't know that you had like that good relationship with Nick up until that happened. And we don't know the
we
behind
shared
the.
an Uber to the airport, or from the
Okay.
airport to our hotels, chatting along the way. I was
On the way home?
no before the reunion,
Okay. Okay.
to
Okay.
LA to our airport. A month before that, I was at Danielle and Nick's lake house, or actually it's Danielle's family, but they were married at the time. Danielle's family's lake house, like an event that they
Okay.
threw and they invited me to, and not everybody went, but I went to show my support, and we had a great time. So it was hurtful that when the show came out,
Oh,
all that
sure.
other shit got forgotten, and people only cared about securing their image and protecting their image. And I understand it because you don't get paid much to be on these shows. The
Right.
money comes from your
Everything
your
after.
brand and
Yeah.
everything after. But nonetheless, when you're on the other side of that, it's shitty, you know. And I
Oh,
was lucky; landed on my feet. I have a career,
right.
and ironically, Nick kind of on the other side of that.
Struggled.
Yeah,
And I
and I don't
will
know. Man,
say,
karma's a bitch. It's all honestly.
he does have, well, he does have a job now. I was
Oh,
talking
good.
to his agent because I have contacts in the IT space, so I was just,
I'm
talking to
glad.
them on
I
the side
wouldn't
about
wish
that.
that upon
Yeah.
anybody.
No, no. But I think it also shows, and this is something I hate about social media, like when you when you appear a certain way on social media, it does hurt your career sometimes. And that's like a complete aside, unrelated to reality TV. But I think you should be able to be who you are, and that doesn't affect how you work. But it really, it shows that him being on the show and how he reacted to things after the show did have an impact on his personal life. And obviously it had one with you with your relationships too. And that really sucks. Like, it shouldn't be that way. But do you mind if I share this with him so maybe he can hopefully apologize and clear any bad blood?
I
or do you want to not?
don't expect an apology from him, but yeah, I wouldn't mind. I mean,
Okay.
just so you know, when I found out about his situation and his struggle, I did send him a text saying, "Hey, like, I hope you're okay," because human to human, I meant that, but doesn't change how I wish things were different for us back then.
Right.
And I wish human to human he could have had some empathy for me back then. But that's okay. You know.
Yeah,
it's
hard. Having, had all kinds of relationships where things ended in a dumpster fire or not. There's one or two people who I wish if they disappeared from the face of the earth tomorrow, I wouldn't care. But even people who have treated me like absolute crap, it doesn't mean I wish them poorly. I hope they're doing well. But yeah, it still hurts. It still hurts, to not have it. So I can relate to that for sure. And I will, I'll address it with him. Obviously, I try to, if you're comfortable with it, if he's comfortable with it, this isn't like some hard-hitting journalism. It's just curiosity from a fan.
Sure.
Let's get back. We went way off the rails. Let's get back to the episode. Tell us about that brunch in the last episode. Was that really awkward? Because it seemed like it with Corinne kind of not serving you.
I mean, at that point, I'm happy to be out of the house. I am antsy to just get whatever the hell it is over with. Like, let's get the show on the road. I mean, I know where I stand at this point.
Okay.
And I mean, yeah, it was just whatever. Looking back, the brunch was insignificant in my mind because all I could think about is I need to get this challenge done with.
Sure. There was a lot of tension. Like, not only, it wasn't so much tension between you and Corinne. It felt more like a bit with her. But like Tanisha and Omarosa just going at each other. I'm sure you were happy to get out of the house, but I think I would have asked for like a separate table. Yeah. Just to get out of that situation.
By now there's been so much like chaos around me. I'm like feeling right at home.
You're used to it.
Yeah, so like me and Fair Play are across from each other, and we're like talking about how good the food is, and just talking about whatever. Like, this is going on over here. Couldn't bother me.
All right. Did you know who Spencer Pratt was? It didn't sound like you did when he came in for the Darkest Hour, the Redemption Challenge.
I mean, I've heard the name, but not a reality TV guy.
Okay.
Not just,
So you don't watch any other reality shows?
I've seen bits here and there, but there's no like real reality show that I'm just not a reality.
Like, really?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you watch?
Oh, reruns of The Office and Seinfeld. Okay. As far as more recent shows, let's see. I mean, I watched Game of Thrones when that was a thing.
Okay. That is not recent, Jake.
I don't know. I'm not a big TV guy. I just have way too much stuff going on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Did you think when you were doing the Redemption Challenge, so I know Tanisha was off on the side with the producer, and you know a lot. You said you worked with exotic animals before, but scorpions can bite. And they said they can't do anything that's going to kill you from the production side. But is there a risk of like getting stung by a scorpion or bit by a snake that can hurt you in these challenges?
I mean, I wasn't too worried about it. I mean, I haven't dealt with a lot of scorpions per se, but the context the context under which they're here, I'm like pretty sure it's safe to do. I mean, I was just happy that was the challenge, honestly. And just seeing their reaction to it, I was like, oh, thank God. Thank God. And just knowing that I would be upsetting the entire house by winning. I was like... Yes.
And I think as soon as there was a part of me that was like, maybe you're going to go into that room and it's not really going to be rats. It will be some kind of like... It'll be like puppies or it'll be something... No, it was really those. Ugh, I would have given up with the scorpions. Snakes and rats, I think I could handle, but scorpions are. I live in Arizona. We're not. I found one in my apartment once. I nearly fainted and had to call my dad to like come
One of them
get it.
did
And he
pinch
doesn't live
me.
there.
One of them did pinch me, and it's like a little pinch, but it.
But don't they have venom?
Not these. Not no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I thought they could
Sting
like
you?
a snake bite. They could kill you and
No,
you're gone.
depends on the scorpion, I guess. But these were nothing to worry about.
Okay. What is the most exotic animal you've worked with?
I've worked with a lot. 'Cause
Okay.
at one point, about 40% of my practice was exotic animals, which included
Okay.
a local zoo. So,
I saw that. I think I pulled it up on your
yeah,
Instagram.
all kinds of stuff. I mean, you name it. At this particular zoo, it was like mountain lions and wolves and elk and otters, alligators,
Okay.
Burmese python, all kinds of stuff.
Nice.
And then from my other exotic animal experiences, African lions, leopards, hyenas. There's a zoo in Chicago called the Brookfield Zoo, and there's an animal named after me there.
Which one is it?
It's a wallaby. You know what a wallaby
Okay.
is?
Yeah, yeah,
A small
yeah. They're like
kangaroo?
little. Yeah.
Yeah. Little Shake, the wallaby.
Oh, well, now I have to go to Chicago. Do you think that you can have some pull where they'll get a snake named Omarosa?
Oh, now that's funny. I might have to work on that one, actually. I'll let you know.
I'm not the one who called her that, by the way. That was all Tanisha. I'm just riding that train.
Okay.
I'm afraid of Omarosa, too.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tanisha, so she brought in that choir in the middle of the night or early in the morning, it seemed like. Were you happy or angry about that?
I think it's exactly what you needed to do, So after I win that challenge, everyone's hanging out downstairs. I'm exhausted. I'm just relieved. I'm like, I'm going to go to bed. And
Okay.
so I'm not really sure what's going on downstairs. I don't care at this point. I'm safe. I don't have to do any politics right now because at least I'm safe for this week. But
Right.
Tanisha comes up, and she's one of my roommates too, and she's all stressed out, and she's like, I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm like, Tanisha, I'm going to vote for you. You don't have to worry. You have my vote, and I'm going to. At this point, again, Corinna's. It's not that I don't like her. It's just we already have bad blood. So,
Right.
you know what I mean?
So why not? Why burn another bridge?
Yeah,
You don't have to.
and I like Tanisha. She's my roommate. So I'm like, don't worry, I got you. And she's like, Shake, I'm worried, but I'm cooking up something big. I'm cooking up something big. And she disappears into her closet where I don't know if they've addressed this on the show yet, but she has her own separate walk-in closet where like she spends like considerable amount of time. Like it's like a big closet to be fair, but like she like disappears in there. I don't know what's in there,
Oh, boy.
but she has a whole setup in there. So she's like in her closet doing something. And then in the morning, I guess we all found out what it was that she was planning.
Yeah. I am not a morning person, so I think I would have not been a happy camper, but it was so funny to watch from the other side. And at first I thought like everybody's going to be annoyed. This is not going to help. But like you said, it seemed to really help her
Street
like
cred.
standing in the house.
cred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That really, do you think if that didn't happen, she would have been more at risk?
Yeah, she would have been more at risk, but I don't know. It could have still, maybe it wouldn't have been as unanimous, but
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, it seemed like everybody was kind of, obviously it was unanimous vote, but like
Yeah.
Corinne had to
Yeah.
go. And then something that was confusing for us as viewers is we've heard both ways that the supervillain can vote in the final elimination or the supervillain can't vote. So can you clear that up?
yeah. So the supervillain cannot vote, but if there's a tie, then they can break the tie.
Oh, okay. Okay. Some things I hope there's a next season, first of all. And then some things I hope they kind of clear up like from the beginning and explain the rules a little bit better. And Feast is definitely somebody, like she's talked the most to you in the house out of everybody. And we were wondering the first 5 episodes if Fairplay mentioned, joking, he thought she was a robot. I wasn't sure she actually lived in the house. So did you guys get along other than this kind of like?
No, so we had a friendship starting out,
Okay.
but things went sideways when you know, when I voted against her. Um, that's
Did that ever recover? Not
uh,
really.
uh,
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe not.
I think surviving as much as I did, like there was some respect that I gained from my castmates. It's like, all right, dude, we've tried to get this guy out. He's still here, you know. I mean,
Yeah,
we can't like, you know, they have to give me some credit for that, and I think I kind of
it's
had some of that going for me moving forward. But
it's that lucky suit.
yeah, lucky suit, exactly, my one suit.
Um, how long are the banishment ceremonies? Are you guys there for a long time, or does it go relatively quickly?
No more than an hour.
Oh, really? So
Awesome.
on The Bachelor, and I've heard on The Challenge and a couple of other shows, they are there like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, having to get additional shots.
I think they
So
have so many
we
people on those shows, right?
in the beginning, The Bachelor does, yeah. The Challenge, maybe like double the cast. It just depends on the season. So maybe that's why. And this isn't really like. Did you guys have to get a lot of reaction shots after the fact?
They did a pretty good job, man. I gotta say,
That's good.
yeah.
I because there were some moments you can see like there was Tanisha giggling at the beginning at something we couldn't see off camera, and then you were so stone faced during Corinne and Tanisha's speeches. Like I don't know if you were just over it or if you were just trying not to laugh, but you were
I
just
think I was just trying not to make things worse for myself at that point. You know, like
okay.
I was already, you know, I was in a bad spot.
Um, did you guys know what would happen? So those chairs flip back. You know, you see yourself like everybody getting buckled in. Did they warn you ahead of time that those chairs are going to flip into the wall?
Hell no.
Did you know?
Hell no.
Oh my
Everything
god.
we saw was a surprise. Nothing. We knew nothing. I didn't know who was going to be on the show. I didn't know what we were going to be doing. The first time you guys saw those chairs, the first time we saw them.
You would have had to like get the paddles out for me because that looks so terrifying. I used to love roller coasters. Now I'm like, how are they okay with this? Did they look into their contracts that you're going to be like flying
It's so
backwards?
hilarious. It's so perfect. You know?
It is. It absolutely is. But you guys are good sports because I would have been like, I'm not getting in that chair. Screw you. No. Um, I know I hate when I say all these ums. It's so hard not to, but I'm trying to look at you and look at my notes. We see in the previews, it looks like it's about to get a little violent for the next episode. Was there any threatening behavior? There's definitely some kind of you can't see who it is. I believe it's Tanisha with Omarosa, kind of screaming, and it looks like getting in each other's faces. And Bad Girls Club, there definitely was moments like that. The Challenge has some brutal fights. Is this a show that
This isn't a violent show.
Okay,
This
it
is
doesn't seem
an
like
emotionally
it.
abusive show for sure, for sure. But
Yeah.
but I wouldn't say it's a violent show.
Did you guys? I know you guys had your phones at night. Did you take advantage of that at all to do some research or?
I definitely could have done more. I tried not to. I wanted to just kind of, you know, I tried to use my same disadvantage as my advantage in the sense that I know so little about these people. I don't want anything to cloud my judgment per se, and I just kind of
Sure.
stuck to that. So obviously, it would have helped me to know about Bananas in his notes and like
Yeah.
things like that. But I also just for the integrity of the game and for my own, I guess, enjoyment, just kind of, I was on my own little vacation at that point. So at
Yeah.
this point in the real world, I'm broken up with my girlfriend, but still living together. And,
Oh God.
and
Oh, I've been there.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So me going to this house where all my meals are taken care of and there's all this like alcohol available, like it was a vacation for me, you know, just to be out of there.
Yeah.
And the first for the first few episodes, I'm like treating my time there as a vacation, which kind of set me behind until I got my
Sure.
shit together.
Where did you guys film? Where was
Outside
the
of Hawaii.
house?
Outside of Hawaii.
Okay. You gotta find a show that has a destination, like a Thailand or a
Yeah,
Bali
I
or
would go do something. I don't want to. I mean, I don't want to go on another dating show necessarily.
no, but I mean I don't know. The challenge is a whole other level, but
Kind of
something
too
like that
stressful.
where they're
Is there a show where I can just like go chill somewhere and like hang out?
well, Love Island, but that's a dating show. I'll use that term very loosely.
Yeah,
It's a hookup show.
there you go.
Um, I don't. You got to get on like a reboot of The Real World, and they have to do
There you
it
go.
somewhere.
That would be fun, actually. Actually, yeah. If they ever reboot the Real World, sign me up for that.
I really wish, and I love the show the way it is. I love House of Villains, but I didn't want to see anybody go home. I wish it was more like a Real World of Villains, where you guys just like. Yeah, it was the real world, but you guys were all stuck in a house together for 10 weeks. Maybe you all worked in a t-shirt shop or at a deli or something, and that would have been fun. But I know we have a couple more things to get to.
Yeah, how
So
many
we're gonna
posts here am I?
we can yeah, let's skip the Instagram thing. We
You
showed
have
the
anything
one
really good on
picture.
Instagram? You have something that you really
Um,
wanted to?
so there was a picture from the watch party. Um, there was a picture of you and Deep Tea after going to Nobu. Post
Let's talk
Love
about
is
that real
Blind.
quick. Let's talk about that real
Okay,
quick.
I'll pull up that
I
one.
think your Love is Blind people will find this interesting.
Let me
And
share my screen.
and I'm sure people have already heard about this by now. Once the NDAs kind of expired, I was more comfortable talking about it. But before the wedding,
There we go.
we're both smiling here. This is after our wedding, right?
Yep.
This is after the I choose myself, whatever. Because the truth of the matter is, before we ever had our wedding, and I would say as early as a week before the wedding, I told her, listen, you're going to have to say no to me because I don't want to be the one to say no to you. I mean, I like you, I
Right.
respect you, I'm having so much fun with you, but it's better if you say no because I can handle it. You know what I mean? And in doing that, I'm trying to, I don't know what the word is, protect her, or just
Yeah.
be conscientious, whatever you want to call it. But then after that, she says her piece. We all partied, all of us. Her bridal party, my groomsmen, everybody there. We went on my friend's yacht. We partied till 5 a.m. And it was a legitimate
Oops. No.
it was a legitimate celebration because even though we didn't get married, we had gone through something unique and intense, and I felt that should be celebrated.
Sure.
We felt that should be celebrated.
Yeah.
So the wedding episode, the way they make it seem, where she's like off crying with her mom, and I'm just like partying by myself, like that was so far from how it really did play out. And it kind of really solidified this image that people had already kind of built up of